Oh, welcome everyone. Happy Friday. If you're joining us live, it's JT here. Welcome to the Huddle. For those that have never seen an episode of the Huddle, welcome this to your first time. So the Huddle is where I sit down with other successful people from the world of sport and coaching. And what I'd like to do is just ask them questions and to explore and allow them to share their journey of greatness with us. Why? Because story's powerful and success always leaves clues. Today, I'm enthused for my guest today. So what I would love to do before I introduce you to him is I always love seeing how this community is growing, how it's going not just in Canada, but going beyond. So what I would love to know is where are you joining us from today? Right? Where are you catching us? And I always just love seeing how the community is growing into different parts of the world. So love to know. Just introduce yourself to the community and tell us where you're tuning in from. So my guest today is someone who I've known for a long time, right? I know you look at us and you're probably thinking, geez, you guys can't be over 20. But we have known each other for over 20 years. We go all the way back to elementary school and high school, and we reconnected in the fall, just via, again, the beauty of technology, the beauty of Facebook. So my guest today is Matt Giunta. So Matt, thanks for coming on.
JT, thanks for having me, man. It's like you said, it's crazy that it's been 20, 25 years. That it's got to be more than that since we've known each other. I always I feel like I'm still in my early 20s, but pushing 40 next year. You look back and say, wow, like where did the years go? But it's great to see you. Always great to talk.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? And like you mentioned, like I was saying to you before, every day I go out for my walks, and one of my routes is I always go back, I always walk past your childhood home, and it's interesting, right? Like it's funny how you grow up with people and you ride the bus with school to them. With us, we played football, we played rugby together, like we played all these things. And it's funny that after high school, I think the last time we actually chatted was I think I came back and you guys were practicing my first year at Western. I remember coming to practice and Mr. Lives was there. And I probably feel like that's probably the last time that we chatted before we hop back on the phone in the fall. So it's amazing how our journeys have brought us back together.
Sure, yeah, probably was. And like you said, it's the great thing with social media is able to connect you as long as somebody has that courage to reach out. That hey, how you doing? A lot of people won't do that for whatever reason, but very thankful you reached out. Great to touch base.
Yeah, definitely. So Matt, what I would really love to do, what I've titled our talk today is just bring it. And it's something that I used to share with students and athletes, right? Like just bring it. And it's something that I say to my kids all the time, like just bring it, right? Bring your best effort and attitude in everything you do. Like always go +1, right? That go that extra yard. And that's one thing I've come to appreciate about you in reconnecting. So I would love for the audience to kind of get to know a little bit more about you, Matt. So what I would love to know is in the huddle, we talk about sport and how it's played a role. So I would love to hear from you. How has sport played a big role in your life?
I think through the years that it's meant so much in many different aspects, right? Growing up, I think anyone that doesn't get involved, if sports aren't your thing, it's get involved in something. For you and I, it happened to be sports. For some, it becomes art or drama or what have you. But I think it's a crucial part of developing who you are because you learn about yourself, you learn discipline, you learn what hard work can get you. So through high school, through all that, it was a way to connect with peers. It was a way to push yourself to be better. As I then moved on, post high school, it was kind of find there was that sport was missing, right? I went to college, not a university that had a sports program, and besides playing softball with some friends, it was like where's that competition? Like what's going to drive me? Which kind of led me to finding the world of professional wrestling, which is sports and entertainment combined. Again, like for that, it was something where, like you said, like just bring it, right? Like you got to push yourself to be the best. Um, Really, and that just kind of keeps you driving, keeps you happy. Lights the fire into your ass, so to speak, right? I think
Yeah.
sports and having that drive really translates to success outside of the field or the stage or whatever it is, right? If you have that drive to succeed in sport and can carry that drive over to life, like you're going to be okay.
Oh, and you know what, Matt, I love that, right? I love the simplicity of your message and that drive, like you talked about it, like sports or regardless of what it is, whether it's like you said, arts, music, like you need something in your life
Yeah.
that lights a fire under your ass to get you out of bed and just bring it, like we talked about. And one of the things that I feel like we were blessed with, being in a high school, which, as I reflect back, and I do actually run there every weekend just for me to really connect back to my roots. And I was having a conversation with Mr. Lyons last week, right? I reached out to him, and it was funny that we were blessed to be in an environment where we had great coaches and mentors,
Absolutely.
right? That really pushed us, right? To be, like you said, the best version of ourselves. So I'm curious, what was the biggest lesson for you in sport? Like, what is the one thing that to this day is still like non-negotiable? Like, what is that thing, that lesson you learned from sport that still frames your day?
The lesson I learned from sports, I mean, um, I think it would have to, tie into, you don't need to win, right? And I think this is a great quote from Vince Lombardi was, well, I'm going to mess up the quote now, but I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, right?
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
winning isn't everything. Wanting to win is, right? Like it's okay to
Mm,
lose, but push yourself to win, to be like, try your best, right? It's okay if you don't make it. It's okay if you're not the best. There's always going to be somebody above you, right? But that gives you a target to strive for. That gives you something to push yourself to bring yourself to that next level, right? So I
mm.
think I think that's a great that was the quote: "Is winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is." Right?
Yeah, and I love that, right? And that goes back to one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich, where
Mhm.
the first step that they actually talk about is desire, right? That's want, right? Like you gotta want more, right? You gotta sort of push yourself. And it's interesting because I had these memories of you, and what made you a great athlete when we were younger is you did, like, you always wanted to compete. Like, I always knew that when we were on the field together, I always knew that Matt's going to give it his all. Like, I do have those memories of that.
Yeah.
So I want to tease something out here, because again, this is part of like the amazing story in your journey. Is you mentioned that you went to, you had a successful high school sport career, and then you went to college, and kind of realized that playing intramurals probably wasn't scratching that competitive edge, that athlete itch, like to like push yourself. And then you said you went into the world of wrestling,
I
and really
did.
this beautiful thing of combining sports and entertainment. So I'd really love to hear about your experience with wrestling, and yeah, how, like, what was that experience like?
I'll tell you. I mean, it's when you like, again, I played rugby, I played football, I played baseball, basketball. Nothing was as physically taxing as getting in the ring. I remember the first time I went, it was in Hamilton to a gym. They were just offering like an open training night. So I went in and just bounced around a little bit, and I fell in love with it. I said, "Hey, like this is amazing." It was something I'd always grown up watching and loved that aspect of it. But then to actually get in the ring and just kind of feel what that was like, I said, I'm hooked. So that free trial night, I signed up on the spot, started training, and I would drive from London at the time to Hamilton Tuesday and Thursday nights and Saturdays, and we would train for hours at a time. Then about 8 months later, I started doing shows, and it just connected me with a whole different world of people. And when you're talking about something that really makes you push yourself in all aspects and really push those boundaries of where you're comfortable, professional wrestling, it did it, right? Not only do you have to be able to talk, you have to be able to act, you have to be able to, throw yourself down, get punched in the face a little harder than you're supposed to, and not flinch, just get back up, keep on going. Play to a crowd, you're running, jumping, yelling, screaming, lifting, sprinting, like every aspect of physicality that was involved in any sports I had previously played was really just taken to the next level. And I mean, I loved it. And then all of a sudden started realizing, hey, like I'm actually, not bad at it, because again, it was that desire to push yourself, right? Just keep giving all you can, and try to make it to that next level.
Yeah, and it's great. Like I love the fact that, like, you talked about, like, you made a decision, like you went to the thing and go, and that's the thing I love about you, Matt, is you went to an open night and you just said, I'm in. Like, I'm going to made a decision. I'm driving from London to Hamilton, right? Multiple times a week. Just
Yeah,
going for it.
sure. And I mean, at the time it was tricky, right? Because everybody wants you to take the normal path, right? Everybody wants you to go to school, get your degree, go get your job, and work your 9 to 5, right? But for me, that just it wasn't it. Again, I finished my college program, great, but I kept myself employed through like a hospitality industry that would give me flexibility to pursue my dream at the time, which was professional wrestling, and really to allow me to have those weekends off to go where I needed to go. It was some say it was a sacrifice, but it wasn't. It was just a different. It was a different path, right? For me, the road to happiness at that point in life wasn't, how fast can I get a job, wife, and kids, right? For me, the happiness at that time was let me go out and perform, let me be the best I can at this, and really give it a shot. And it was a wild ride. I think, I mean, COVID's really tampered things down. The last wrestling tour I did was about a year ago, a year and a half ago, I guess I would say. And although I'm slowing it down,
Yeah.
I still love to get in the ring and just help out the younger generation now, right? But like, now that I've done what I wanted to do, now the focus then shifts, and in the last couple of years has then shifted to, okay, like now let's work on family, career, and really nailing all that down. And that, for my timeline, was perfect, right? Everybody's got their own path and their own ideal, so you got to follow yours.
And that's such great advice, Matt. And coming from a background in education, it's interesting, right? That you were self-aware enough to realize that the traditional path, that mainstream path, is not, isn't gonna get me to where I want to go. And I love the fact that you said that, people often talk about, sacrificing, what do I have to give up? But it sounded like you were willing to pay a price to pursue the life you want. Would that be fair to say?
I mean, yes and no. Again, like I don't know if I would, and I started to say sacrifice, but I kind of stopped, because if you're pursuing what makes you happy, what are you like, are you giving things up, or are you taking what makes you happy, right? Again, like the years I spent, I made incredible friendships. I mean, I was on the road generally Thursday to Sunday. Who knows where we would have gone, but I mean, it brought me to Japan, to Mexico, traveling across the country, all up and down the U.S. coasts, meeting some incredible people, having some just experiences that I couldn't begin to explain the capacity of it. Then transition that to myself and the guy who I would wrestle with, one of my great friends. We got the privilege of being cast on Amazing Race Canada, right? Like none of that would have happened had I not said, yeah, you know what, wrestling's this way I want to go. So it's really interesting the way, life, the path curves here and there, right? But
Yeah.
ultimately gets you in the right direction.
And what I love about that, Matt, is I love your ability to reframe. And that speaks volumes about who you are, right? And it's that idea of, sacrifice it's interesting word, right? Because some people think sacrifice, it's like this negative connotation.
Mhm.
But essentially what you did, right? And what I've done, and what other successful, highly effective people are willing to do, is they're willing to let go of other people's ideas, right?
Right.
Like you felt like, what, other people's ideas of following this path wasn't my path, right?
No, absolutely. It's a great way to put it.
So again, this is where it's fascinating. This is where I love this story. I feel like I could sit here and talk with you for days about this. So you parlay this into a new opportunity, right? Like wrestling provided you an opportunity to combine the physicality, right, with the big energy, the big personality that you bring, right? That great smile. And you parlay it with your wrestling partner into an opportunity on the Amazing Race Canada. So I'd love to hear more about how all that happened and kind of what you took away from that
No,
experience.
sure. I mean, again, we were as much of a team as you could make one, right? I mean, we were oftentimes if I would, let's say I'd call the house and I'd talk to his mother and she'd think I was him, right? When you spend so much time together, you just start to meld and mesh into one person. But I mean, again, being on the road a lot, we found the opportunity when it said season 1 Amazing Race Canada was casting. So we thought, all right, let's throw out the application. We didn't get a call back. No one cared. We didn't get anything from it, right? And again, comes back to perseverance, right? You get one no, don't ever listen to one no, right? We applied. The second year we just didn't get around to it, but the third season again, a casting call opens up, says, "Hey, we're looking for unique teams," and both of us thought, you know what, we have an interesting story, right? We're two people. Myself at the time, I was again in the hospitality industry. He was teaching. Both of us were moonlighting again as professional wrestlers on weekends, and we were as much of a team as you could get. So when they said we're looking for unique teams, we thought, hey man, let's throw it out, right? So we put our casting video together again and reached out to the company, and sure enough, they called us back that time. And after a bunch of meetings and a bunch of paperwork, medicals, and what have you, we were whisked off to film the TV show.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, an experience that listen. Everyone always says, "Oh, I'm not going to apply because I won't get it." Right? People are afraid again to put themselves out there. Put yourself out there, right? I mean, I'm just no different than the guy next door to me, right? But it was a matter of they just so happened to connect with our story at the time, and it was an incredible opportunity that lifetime experiences. And I think that was kind of a theme, and that was the theme of finding wrestling as my passion at the time and finding different things. I kind of thought to myself, you know, at the end of the road, you want to look back and have memories, right? Like you want to have a life that you can sit and go, can I write a book, right? What's the next chapter? What's something more interesting I can do to just enrich your life? So when Amazing Race called, it was a phenomenal opportunity. Coming in second, however, bittersweet,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, you push yourself to win, and we came about 5 minutes from winning, so it was the biggest kick in the pants I could have got.
Yeah. What I love that you shared, Matt, and again, I'm learning so much about who you are, right? Like, it's interesting that we've known each other. Like, we started going to school together, right? A couple decades ago,
Sure.
would you say?
I guess, yeah, 3 decades ago, sure.
And I love that you shared, right? Is that one of the things that holds people back is that they get so focused on, like, they don't even take an action, right? Like they never send the video, right? They never send the email. They never put themselves out there, right? And then it's sort of that self-fulfilling prophecy. If you never move into action, nothing's going to change, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Absolutely.
But I love the fact that you said, yeah, you know what, just take that action. And you know what? And when you move into action, it's like a sports analogy. Whenever you move into action and you just go for it, it's like great shit always happens, right? Like an opportunity is gonna happen, right? And what
Absolutely.
what gets us into trouble is when we go, should I or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? Should I apply for that? Should I not? And then it just causes this whole shit ton of chaos in there and traps people, right? And then they wonder, and that, oh my God, what are people gonna think? Right? So I love the fact that you just said, just freaking go for it.
It's your life. You got to live it for you, right? Like the world will present multiple doors, but if you're not going to open them, you're stuck.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious on Alicia and I have talked about, going on the Amazing Race, and I remember we said, we don't know if it would be great for our marriage because I feel like the old competitive nature might not,
Sure, yeah. My
it's going
fiance and I
there.
said the same thing.
I'm curious, what was the best experience through the amazing race? Like, was there one memory or like adventure or city that you're like, oh, like that's like you talked about the memory that, yeah,
Sure, yeah. So I mean, it's a really interesting procedure, right? You go to all these great places, but you're on a schedule, right? You're on the clock as to you have to be here at this point in time, and you're got that stress because it is a race, right? So you know you have to get somewhere, and you just got blinders on. So a lot of times it's really hard to just sit back and take it all in, right? There were some beautiful cities I got to go to and got to see enough to know that I wanted to go back. Right. Again, we went to Argentina. Racing through the streets of Argentina was really interesting. One of my best friends was born and grew up in Argentina. Then came to St. Matt's. Right. So it was cool to go there and be able to talk about it afterwards. But we didn't get to go out and see the nightlife, right? Or
yeah.
get to go out and see the culture. I got to salsa in one of the dance clubs there, right? So there was so much where it just the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, I mean, I thought Argentina was beautiful. We went to Delhi in India. I thought was beautiful. I mean, there it was so chaotic. Like there's just so many people and traffic and just insanity that when you get off the main strip into some of the more tranquil area, you understand the appreciation and need for like your quiet time, your meditation, because the outside world there was just so chaotic. And then we moved into like Penticton, British Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful location in BC, and I had never been out west. My Nick, who I had wrestled with and was on the show with, he used to always say things about Ontario being, oh, there's no good skiing, and I would reiterate, say, look, we got Blue Mountain, it's great, we got skiing, we got this. And he says, "Hey, had you ever been out west?" And to that point, I hadn't. But as soon as we got out there, I said, okay, you're right. Um, it was like the finale that I was good enough to stay in for was in Vancouver, and then we went to Whistler, and just breathtaking. I mean, as a Canadian, we don't have the ability necessarily to go um, to the hot climate all the time, especially now. Let's say borders are closed, right? And we always travel so far outside the country and give me the islands and the hot weather. But I mean, take advantage of Canada coast to coast, right? British Columbia was absolutely beautiful, and again, I know for sure somewhere that I need to get back to experience on my own time.
Yeah. What I really got from you, Matt, there was it made me realize that one of your gifts is how open you are to opportunities, to new experiences, right? Like you were describing, whether it's travel, whether it's, wrestling, like that's one of your gifts is you're so open-minded.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think for me, it's life experience, right? I mean, so once wrestling looked like it was starting to not happen. I mean, I had tryouts with WWE. I had tryouts with what was TNA wrestling at the time. And things that you were hoping for that call saying yes. There's a job, but it
Mhm.
never ended up coming through. But again, the opportunities and just striving for that was great. But once I realized, okay, I'm getting a little older, like time to secure a career, I started to transition into the world of real estate. Since 2014, I've been actively doing that, and I think last year or 2019, I would say was probably my best year in the business. But an opportunity came up, and I
Mhm.
talked about this with you again. It's the ability to say yes to opportunity, right? My fiance and I were offered a position on board the Symphony of the Seas cruise ship in a completely different industry that was a relatively lucrative job, and we kind of said, okay, can we make that jump, right? I said, okay, I mean, real estate was going great, but it was something I could put on hold and come back to. So we just kind of said, this is a great opportunity. Like it's a new life adventure. And that's kind of what both of us were all about is let's find some adventure. So yeah, Casey and I packed up all our stuff and We got let go of our condo and out we go.
Yeah.
We were off living in the Caribbean, and then we were there 3 months, and the world turned upside down.
Mm.
Every piece of excitement thing we were looking forward to about really establishing ourselves in that role was just taken away from us, and we were whipped back home. But again, roll with the punches. The experience that we gained from that was priceless.
It's amazing to me. One thing I noticed, right? Because I was like reading people's faces, but your smile never left, right? And that's where, yeah, you shared with me, like, yeah, this new opportunity pops up, right? Where I'm on a cruise ship, a lucrative opportunity, and all of a sudden, we just get into a very interesting time in human history, right?
Mm.
And all of a sudden, that smile never left your face, and you're like, yeah, just go back and so. Is there has that always been you? Like, I'm curious, like your ability to reframe and find the opportunity, right? Because the Chinese, and this is one thing I always share is, the Chinese have a character, right, for crises or danger. I can't remember what it is, but we can look at it. One stroke says danger, right, and one stroke shows opportunity. And I find, doing this work, right, and being a human potential success coach, that we've been trained to really find the danger, right? To find all the bullshit that we perceive isn't working out. But you have this amazing ability to find the opportunity. Now, is that something that you have had, like it's just something you were born with, or is that something that you've just learned, was it someone taught you growing up, or yeah, like I'm fascinated by your
I
ability.
mean, I think it's an interesting question. I think over time you just kind of you build that persona. If you're someone that's going to put up walls and block out everything, or if you're someone that's going to be open to the world, right? Um, I think that I don't know how it came to me, but just personality wise, that was just what I was raised with was be open to adventure, be open to potential. And it wasn't always that way. I mean, I remember back in I think it was 2000 and okay, it would have been about 2010 now, where again I was wrestling and I was enjoying that element of it, but that became the structure for me. It was work through the day, wrestle on weekends, and that was it. And I had friends saying, hey, I'm going here. Why don't you come with me? And it was, oh, I can't, and I shot down a lot of opportunity. And then one of my best friends, he said to me, I'm going to go backpack through Central America for 6 weeks. I said, oh, great, have fun. He said, oh, you should come. I said, I can't. And he said to me, why not? And I couldn't answer him. Right? I said, why not? Well, financially, I could do it. I could take the time off work, no problem. I really wasn't missing anything if I went, but I was so quick to say no, 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 no. And then eventually, when he questioned me on that, like, okay, you're telling me no, but why? Like, why is there a no? Oh, great question. And I think it was about 3 weeks later, I had my backpack packed and was flying down to Costa Rica for 6 weeks of phenomenal adventure and just life experience. That I mean, again, I wouldn't trade for anything, right? But it's you just have to have that openness to say, like, yeah, I mean, yes, I can do it, right?
There's two things there, Matt, that really jump out at me about what you're sharing. And it goes back to, Henry Ford had that great quote, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
And I love that you sort of that idea where you're open to accepting a new idea, right? And whether it's travel, whether it's a new opportunity to come on a cruise ship, right? Or whether it's this real estate career, whether it's pursuing wrestling, you had to be open to accepting a new idea, something that sort of was beyond what you were doing. And because you have this beautiful gift to say, I can, that's why you've created so much greatness for yourself in your life. But it's amazing how often, and I'll go back to the analogy that you said, that we've been trained to say, I can't, right? And that's one thing that in our, like, one of the things that we nip in the bud with our kids is no, I like can't is the most dangerous 4-letter word. in
Absolutely.
the English language, because like you said, it builds up these walls around us and puts us in this like pretty little box that keeps us safe and comfortable. But
Sure, but you got to get outside of that safe and comfort to, to enjoy the life that it provides, right?
yeah, no, I love it. So one idea that I would love, or a question I would love to ask you is, is there, through all your experiences, is there a belief that you used to have that when you were younger that you were like, yes, like I believe this, where now you're kind of like, that was complete bullshit. Like, no flipping way. Is there like this old belief that you no longer believe anymore?
I mean, I think if anything, it's just like I mentioned before, like that belief that the cookie cutter thing was the way to go, right? It was the, and again, for some people, it's fantastic, and it can allow them to get to their goals, right? And for me, the your traditional method of school, get a job quick, get a family quick, and enjoy life wasn't in the cards. And I think that the one thing I can take away from is like that's okay, right? Whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago I was sitting there going, oh, maybe I should have gone and done a different course at university, and maybe I should have pushed to settle down earlier, right? Like it was a little bit later on in life where I got into the benefits of a home ownership and money in the bank and a fiance that I'm excited to marry, right? Like all that stuff. I mean, I'm pushing 40 now, and it maybe I'm 10 years behind a lot of people. Maybe I'm 15 years behind some people, but that's other people's timeline, right? Um, I think that the greatest truth I can say is like really develop and live your own timeline, right? Because I'm probably on the happier end of the spectrum when it comes to people I know, right?
Mhm.
Success wise, things are going fantastic. Everything's great in such a time where there's so much to be upset about and look down on it and let stress you out. 100%. I understand. The last year was highly stressful for many, but at the end of the day, I can look back and say, hey, like I'm happy with what I am, who I am. I'm happy with where I've been and how I got to where I am. So we're doing okay.
I love that. Um, Live your own timeline.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, you have to, right?
Oh, and it's interesting, right? What's reconnected us is we're both doing it, right? Like we're
Absolutely.
both kind of living life on our terms. And
Right.
yeah,
And I
by
mean,
tradition,
you had that same kind of realization. I think we were talking about, right, where you were in that cookie cutter realm, and then you said, I got to make some changes, right? I got to do what I love. I got to do what makes me me. And I mean, now you're doing it, and it's fantastic.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, brother. And
Yeah,
again, right? People come back. I realize why we were brought back into our lives is because we're of that same mindset, right? That
absolutely.
do what you love and take big risks, take big chances, right? And everything works out, right? Just so okay. So here's a last question I would really love to ask you, Matt, is like you mentioned, right? We are in an interesting time, depending on when people are watching this, right? So we are coming up to a year anniversary of when the world sort of made a huge pivot.
Mhm.
And really it's an interesting time. And there are people that are struggling, right, with their health. They're not able to, maybe the gyms aren't open. There are people relationship wise that maybe they're having a relationship breakdown. Maybe financially they're really, you know, maybe they lost their job, right? Or maybe they just, again, everything is shifted. What would you say to someone who is really struggling, that is feeling so stuck? They're at least they're self-aware to realize, right, that they want better. Anyone that's watching this conversation, they want better. Like they're into personal growth, right? What is one piece of advice you would tell them to just get started moving in the right direction, start creating some momentum and start creating some wins for themselves?
I mean, listen, again, this time, like you said, it's been trying for a lot of people. And I think that having that first realization of, hey, I want something different. I mean, that's the first step. It's great. I think that, it's okay to be vulnerable, right? It's okay to be down. It's okay to not feel yourself. But that stuff can't last, right? You need to transition. And for a lot of people, you can't do it on your own, right? A lot of people need that person to talk to. And if people need to seek help, whether it be, um, you know, you just need someone to talk to, whether it be therapy or a friend to reach out to, or what have you, or a success coach, someone to lead you in the right direction, a life coach, things like that. It's okay to reach out to these people because that's what they're there for. People are out there to help you. It's again, that's you opening that door, right? We said all about taking risks. So if you're in a situation where what you're doing isn't working for you, and you just don't know how to um, make that transition to the next step, or to turn your life around, to fix it, find someone to talk to. I mean, JT, that's what you're here, you're doing for many people, and it's fantastic, right? It's opening that door to just help people realize their potential, because we're 6 billion people in this world. We're not here alone. You don't have to feel alone. There's someone you can connect with that can help you reach your potential and get to that next level, right? I know, like, again, for me in wrestling, it was having that partner beside me that would push me to be better. If I was down, it was someone to talk to. It was goals to say, okay, who can bench press more? Like, you got me this week. Okay, let's train and get in that next month. But it was someone to push me. Then I got into real estate. I'm working on a phenomenal real estate team right now. We're amongst the top 1% in the country, and we're there again because we're a collective. We're a team, right? And if I start to slip with anything, there's someone to pick me up. And if I need something to drive me, I can look up and say, okay, I see that guy's doing great. Well, you know what? He's not going to beat me, right? So it's that competitive nature comes out. I'm going to get right back at it, right? In my relationship right now, I've got my fiance to lean on, someone who's there, and again pushes me to be better because I want to be better for her. So there's many different elements where that door is there to open, and someone is there on the other side to help guide you through. And I think just people have to realize that, notice that's there, like there's someone in their life, whether it be, like I said, whether it be a friend or a professional. There's someone there that's willing to help push them through to that next side. So when everything looks down, find those open doors, right? Find those people that are there for you.
I love that, Pat. And it's team, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Together.
again, we're not in this life alone, right? Exactly, to tie it back to things I always loved, and that's team sports,
Mhm.
team living. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah, I love that. So, Matt, how can people get connected with you? Like I said, again, you're creating these amazing things for yourself, right? And you're doing some amazing things in the real estate space, right? When things open back up, I'm sure that other opportunities, whether it's going back on the cruise ship, living in the Caribbean, I'm sure are going to open up for you. I'm enthused to see what opportunities come your way. How can people get connected with you?
I mean, we can. I'm on Facebook, active on there. You can find me at. We can put
Yeah,
links, I guess, there where
yeah,
needed. But yeah, my Matt Giunta is my name. You can see the face. You can
yeah.
send me a friend request on that, or I think I got the business page is Matt G is your key.
Okay,
Facebook.com/Matt
yeah,
G your key. I'm there.
okay,
Instagram, Matt Giunta Real Estate. Yeah, I'm out there. I mean, I'm just starting to get better with social media. I've tried
okay,
to steer away from it for the most part, but I mean, it's
yeah,
inevitable. It's something that in business you need, and in life, again, it just keeps connections and keeps the door open. So uh,
okay.
there if needed.
I Yeah, no, I'll be sure to share it all in the section there, folks, and connect you. And like I said, if one you want to connect with an amazing person that has great story, great energy, and hey, how many people can say they have a real estate agent that was the runner up on the first season of it,
I
Amazing
one,
Race
one of my
Canada?
I have one of my clients I helped a while back, and he goes, everyone I talk to, I'm going to tell them, my real estate agent was the best. He was Amazing Race Canada. He was a
Yeah,
wrestler.
yeah,
Yeah, it's again, it's a fun story. Life is what you
yeah,
make of it.
yeah.
Enjoy it. Once things open back up, I'm gonna try to get my butt back down to the wrestling gym, get in the ring a little bit just for training, more so
Okay.
just for fun, and again keep the keep the drive going, right?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I mean you gotta enjoy life. Take the happiness where you can find it.
Yeah. Amazing. Great advice. Matt, first and foremost, I wanted to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you for the person you are, the man you are, the fiance, the future dad and son you are. Um, you are a shining light in the world. And really, what I got from this conversation, Matt, is how amazing life feels, how much joy, how much calm and ease there are when you pursue what you love in life and when you're always open to accepting new ideas and opportunities. So I wanted to acknowledge you just for reminding me of that. So thank you for that, Matt.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, and I've really loved the conversations we've had. Great reconnecting with you, absolutely. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I said to you last time. I mean, it's I commend what you're doing, and to be that that drive, or to just help people find what's them, and help people push the boundaries of what they don't believe is possible, and just showing them that yeah, it's a possibility. The fact that you're able to do that for a lot of people is fantastic.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. So again, folks, you want to get connected to Matt, you want to get connected to me. The one takeaway I'll leave you with is what Matt talked about. You just got to want it. Okay. You don't have to know why you want it. You don't have to know how you're going to do it. You just got to want it. Right. And whether it's, sending that email, sending that message, right? Just move into action, right? Get off the sidelines of your life, right? Get into the game and play full out. And great things always happen. So thank you so much for joining us in the huddle today. I look forward to connecting with you soon. Have an amazing rest of your Friday.